Hey, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Coaching from the Couch. This is your weekly DMV Sports update. And I am your host, C. Wall, checking in as I love to do each and every single week, for the most part, on a Thursday to join you to have a live discussion on all of the hot topics and the happenings in the Washington metropolitan area in the sports world. So as you all are hopping on into the live discussion, we have to go through some housekeeping items. For those of you all who are returning, you should know these housekeeping items by now. But this is a live Bowie television recording. Everything we say and do here will more than likely end up on your television screens each and every single day from 1:30 to 2:30. Verizon Channel 11, Comcast Xfinity Channel 77. So shout out to all of those viewing on television. Hey, everybody. But you can always join the live discussion that's on Facebook and YouTube. And make sure while you're checking in on Bowie Television, make sure you're also subscribed to Bowie Television's YouTube channel. It's Bowie TV at BCMC Maryland TV. You'll find it, put all those words together, and I promise you it's going to come up. Now, as we get into the conversation, make sure you all say hello to Mama Waller. Make sure you say hey to Pops Waller, because we're definitely going to get right on into the discussion. Have a lot of Wizards content. Definitely want to talk all about the Wizards and also, of course, the Washington Commanders. We're going into week 7, everybody. So there's a lot to discuss for sure. So there's still time to tag in your weekly DMV Sports loving family and friends, and we can get right on in. You've hopped in, make sure you hit that love button, like button. Let me know that you're in the building, because we're definitely going to get into some conversation, especially for Wizards and Commanders fans. All right, Wizards fans, check in. For the first time since 2017, 2018, are you all ready for this news? You ready for this one? The Wizards are 3-0 in the preseason. Now, hey, listen, let's just go ahead. Let me go ahead and say this. Yes, I know it's just preseason. Where's the preseason? It's just preseason chorus. I know that's what everybody's going to say. Seawall, listen, it's just preseason. It's just preseason. So, not a big deal. Understood. But considering all of the moves the Wizards made this offseason, I absolutely believe that what we're witnessing in the preseason is a good sign. And one of the biggest Wizards fans I know, and Cameron Mingo, I see has already dropped a comment in the chat to say hello. So hello to Cameron as well. I'm delighted. And another page to bookmark and follow, SI.com, Inside the Wizards. Lots of great content. And I'm going to go through some of that content right now while we talk about some of the highlights from this week. I've already mentioned the Wizards are 3-0 so far in the preseason. Will they go undefeated in the preseason? Let me know your response in the chat. And if they do go undefeated in the preseason, does anybody care? Does it even matter? Do you feel any better about the season at hand if they, in fact, go undefeated in the preseason? So the Wizards announced earlier today that they signed guard Devon Dotson to an Exhibit 10 contract and that they waived Jules Bernard. If you all recall, Devon Dotson has played for the Capital City Go-Go's, appeared in 41 games, got 40 starts in the regular season and Showcase Cup with the Capital City Go-Go. He's averaged 14.3 points, 4.5 rebounds, and 6.4 assists in 30.2 minutes per game. And he also had played with the Wizards last season as well in the seasons of 2020 to 2022, played with the Chicago Bulls. So that move was made. Also, let's just go ahead and get into things that are, what do you really like that you're seeing about the Wizards? Let's talk about the things that are going well, right? Tag in your favorite Wizards fellow fans, because Kyle Kuzma was out in game 3 with the calf injury. So more to come on that. But Kyle Kuzma was leading the team in scoring. Jordan Poole, hot as fish grease in game 3 with 41 points. Off-season pickup, Mike Muscala, also hot as fish grease from 3 from 5 of 7. Because I have zero expectations, and I've told you all this, I have no issues with saying out loud, I have no expectations for the Wizards, because I absolutely, I didn't know what to expect. We're going to tell the news on Inside the Wizards, and I'm going to come on here and Coaching from the Couch weekly DMV Sports update and tell you all the news as well. But I had zero expectations. I said, I don't know what to expect. I'm not sure what to see. I can tell you a few things that I'm liking. And I see Cameron is talking about, we already talked about the pool party, but he's mentioning rookie Bilal Coulibaly. We're going to get to him as well. An underrated, not underrated, but a move that the Wizards made that not many people are talking about. And I actually wrote about this on Inside the Wizards on SI.com. It was the restructured coaching staff. And if you've just checked in, you're watching from the Coaching from the Couch series, the weekly DMV Sports update. I'm your host, C. Wall, and we're getting into a bit of the Wizards preseason. Hit that love button, like button, drop a fire emoji in the chat so that I know that you're watching, so I can give you a shout out. The Wizards have brought in coaching expertise from, coaches that have experience from Golden State, from the Lakers, from Oklahoma City Thunder, and others. And that's a very, it's no one's talking about the fact that they've made these changes in the coaching staff with a focus on player development. And I see Bernard Plummer has checked in. Huge Commanders fans, but y'all forgive him, DMV Sports fans, because he's a Knicks fan. But he's putting it out there that the Wizards absolutely gave his Knicks the business last night. Indeed, they did. Indeed so. Coaching matters. Player development matters. And I want to go back to, at the end of last season, Kyle Kuzma mentioned in his end of season media availability to us that one of the things he really appreciated and loved about the team is how much his game developed. Keep that in mind. Next thing we know, Kyle Kuzma ends up re-signing with the Wizards. Next thing we know, the Wizards organization is now saying out loud that they have a focus on player development. Next thing you know, again, they're pulling in coaches from, and I forgot to mention this, coaches with experience, with the Portland Trail Blazers, right? Again, Lakers, Golden State, Oklahoma City Thunder, the Nets, the Bucks. They're bringing this expertise in. And I'm going to tell you all, Wizards fans and DMV Sports fans overall, this is something that I know I will be paying attention to. I want to pay attention to this because Kyle Kuzma mentioned it in his end of season presser at the end of the season. We see that, of course, Kyle Kuzma resigned. We see that the organization has made it a point. If you go back and listen, and I think I've shared this with you all on the show. If you go back and you listen to the opening pressers by President Winger and General Manager Dawkins. They talked about player development. They also talked about analytics and those things, but the first thing they mentioned was player development. Don't lose sight of that. I think that's a huge thing. And Lawrence Bullard from Team Bullard, and he's a coach himself, he understands that coaching matters on all levels. And I said, I'm gonna start paying attention to this, because I've actually enjoyed watching the Wizards. I'm just go ahead and say it. I'm getting ready for, writing articles and trying to take in information and understanding, okay, what are the various angles? Because the NBA season is long. I don't have to tell you all that, but having to figure out what's going to be the thing that I know I'm going to be paying attention to is player development, because now it has become a recurring thing. And I'm liking the fact that that's the thing. I am. Again, now I want you all's thoughts. Does it matter? Does it not matter if the Wizards end up going undefeated in the preseason? Does anybody care? Is that a big deal? I'm going to say this. They're 3-0 for the first time since 2017 and 2018. I feel like that's important, a very important point. Not saying anything other than it's a very important point. I think it's a very important point because nobody knew what to expect, and you still don't know what to expect from this team. But I think they're going to actually be fun to watch. I do, barring any injury, but that's with every team. I do think that this is going to be interesting. Here's something else that I wanted to mention. Couple of things, and then we got to switch over to the Commanders. But Wizards fans, stick with me for a little while longer. Then we're going to jump on into the Washington Commanders. A lot of positive feedback from former players. Inside the Wizards, staff writers Karita Parks and David Harrison have written about these topics on the site. You got to check it out. The other day, Karita put out an article about what Kevin Garnett had to say about Jordan Poole, calling him the new James Harden, and just talking about Jordan Poole, the Jordan Poole, Kyle Kuzma duo overall. Tons of positive feedback. JJ Redick on his podcast last month had a lot of great things to say about Corey Kispert. Check out their articles. It's good stuff. It's good stuff. And so while we may think that people aren't paying attention to the Wizards, people aren't talking about the Wizards, we got proof that that's not necessarily the case. People are absolutely paying attention to the Wizards. And I think a lot of that, too, has to do with the leadership moves that were made. I really do. I think that the president, the general manager, and the individuals they brought in to help coach and develop this team got some name clout. They have some name recognition. And if we even go back to Coach Wes Unseld Jr. in the relationship he had with his team when he was with the Denver Nuggets, one of the main things, key things that was always said about Coach Unseld Jr. was how he worked to develop those players. And the Joker would always say he was key in developing my game. He was critical to my development process. Jamal Murray would say those things as well. Keep your eye on it, because I know I am. I absolutely am, because it's a very, very important point. And when Seawall tells you all it's a very important point, you got to walk with me down that path of the very important point path. You don't want to miss it. Trust me on that one. Wizards fans, more to come. Make sure you check out si.com Inside the Wizards. We have a lot of content on there for you to read. Next up, Washington Commanders fans. Where are you, Commanders fans? Where are you? Where are you? Where are you? Love button, fire emoji. If you've just checked in, you are watching from the Coaching from the Couch series, the weekly DMV Sports Update. I am your host, C-Wall, here as I always try to be, to give you all the latest and greatest information on what's happening in DMV Sports. We try to get it all in as much as we can. A lot of talk on the Wizards preseason so far, and we're jumping into the Washington Commanders. Commanders fans, are you there? Are you recovered from For those that traveled to Atlanta, are you recovered from the Atlanta trip? Those that did not travel, are you just overall? Are everyone recovered from the happenings? Now, first things first, I want to share from yesterday's press. We're going to kind of move backwards. I want to share from Coach Ron Rivera's press conference yesterday some of the questions that I asked him, a couple of the questions that I asked him in the presser. Then I'm actually going to play his presser from immediately after the game on Sunday, because he brought up some things that I think are very important for us to pay attention to going into week 7. So first up, my questions to Coach Rivera in Wednesday's press conference.
Coach, this week, Jamison Crowder got, special teams of the week honors. What can you say about his performance thus far and just the importance of what he brings to that position overall?
I think what's been really cool about Jamison is, he came in and has had to learn a lot, not just our special teams, but he had to learn our offense. And what's really neat to watch him is the professionalism in which he approaches everything, how he's working with a lot of our young guys. He's been working with Kaz Allen, helping him in terms of trying to learn and grow and develop as a slot receiver, but also as a punt returner. And so it's been kind of cool watching, the veteran guy help the young kid out. He's got a little sage wisdom to him. I think the guys respect that from him as well. I mean, he's been great to have around, and he's a dynamic returner. And I think what it's done is given our guys, a little bit of a jolt, a little bit of shot in the arm, knowing that you have an explosive guy back there. And so when I know they're on the huddle on the sidelines and Coach Kaiser's talking to him, he's telling him, hey, just give this guy a chance. Just give this guy a shot. And they did on Sunday, and we saw the result.
And a lot of fans traveled to Atlanta this past weekend. How much of that was a boost for you all?
That was cool. Our players talked about that. In the locker room, just listening to the guys after the game talk about how cool it was to see as many fans that were there. It was really neat that they came out in force too. It really was. When we were leaving the game after the field after the victory, just having them cheer us was really a neat thing, and that's what the guys really talked about. Is they could hear the fans, but the applause they were getting when they were coming in after the game, that really kind of excited those guys.
So, couple of things. I know I mentioned on Monday, listen, the fans came out. And I knew just from overall listening in the locker room, the team was really excited about that. They were like, whoa. Really couldn't believe that so many fans were there and they could hear the fans as loud as the fans were. So kudos, amazing, awesome. Also, I want to talk about, you all have heard me, for those of you who are returning viewers of the show, you have heard me talk about the importance of special teams. And I'm going to do this next time you see B. Mitch, you can tell him that Seawall said it is his fault that I care so much about that position. Because when you have a struggling offense, or you're just trying to get, whether the offense is struggling or not, you're trying to get in the end zone. You are trying to get in the end zone. You're trying to run the score up. And a great way to have a good chance at doing that is by getting the ball down the field. And if you can have a player that can first catch the ball, like special teams coach Kaiser shared with me back during the summer, you first want to make sure the player has control of the football. Then once they have control of the football, they got to be able to have the vision. They got to be able to be explosive and roll with it. Jamison Crowder. Listen, I told you all on Monday, I was so happy for Jamison Crowder, I didn't know what to do with myself. I really was. Now, I did tell Jamison this week, I said, hey, good job. Congratulations. Special teams, NFC Player of the Week honors, well deserved, absolutely should have gotten it. I said, but you gonna get in the end zone next time? He said, oh yeah, for sure. We in the end zone next time. We in the end zone next time. Okay, I'm just making sure. Not trying to slight you, brother. We're not trying to slight you at all. Go ahead and get in that end zone next time. That'd been good. Now, the team still got in the end zone, which is what you want to see, and it's always good. But I really wanted to bring it up, number one, because hey, how often do we get to see a Washington Commander honored in for that role that we've seen Tress Way get honored from a special teams perspective by the league, but a punt return, haven't seen that in quite some time. So I wanted to bring that up because I'm going to keep bringing it up. It's an important unit, and Jamison Crowder deserved every bit of that award. And it was also good to hear. I know a lot of fans like Cass Allen and were looking for Cass Allen to really be in that role this year. So to hear Coach Rivera share that Jamison has been helping Cass Allen, I think that's exactly what people want to hear. The vet helping out the rookie, helping out the locker room overall, bringing his wisdom, bringing his education, bringing his encouragement. That's what we want to hear. So I think that's awesome. I think it's very cool. And I wanted to ask about it, and I wanted to share it with you all as well. Now, again, going backwards a little bit, going to Coach Rivera's immediately after the game press conference. Yes, there was a win, but there was still some things going on right during the game that almost made you say, oh my gosh, are they going to lose? But they ended up winning, so that worked out. Want to go back and listen to Coach Rivera's immediately after the game press conference. While we're listening and watching the press conference, absolutely drop in the chat some of your thoughts. Now that you've had a few days, and if you all are like me, and some of my other media colleagues, you may have watched the game a few times to see what you saw, but make sure you really saw it or not. Maybe it was something that you missed. And then when this is over, the video is over, we'll talk about how some of this applies as the Commanders face the New York Giants on Sunday.
Loss to this, what do you think was the big difference?
An ugly road win. You know, I think one of the things that really stood out more so than anything else was we protected the football and we took the football away. That gave us the opportunity more so than anything else. Some things that we still got to continue to work on and improve. Some of the details, we weren't as good as we needed to be. We did our job, but we got to pay even more attention to the details because we almost got ourselves in trouble.
How big for just the older game was Jamison's return in that first half?
Oh, it was huge. It's one of those things that gives you a little bit of a spark, and spark can come from anywhere. This was a three-phase win, offense, defense, special teams. Did the things that we needed to do, put ourselves in position, gave us an opportunity.
What went into the decision to sit Emmanuel for this game?
I think in looking at it, it's probably an opportunity for him to get a little reset, kind of watch, see how things happen, see how things go. And, hopefully it's something that he'll learn from, he'll take as a positive and grow from it.
And how do you think the secondary did with Danny coming in and just bouncing back?
I thought there were some really good things. I thought, the defense bowed up when it had to, made a couple plays that were really good that really helped us. And, I just think that, again, when you need to make plays, you have to step up when you get the opportunity. A lot of guys did today.
You guys made a lot of defensive changes with Leak and Danny and Quan. How much of that is things you wanted to do, and how much of that is just the specific opponent?
Well, I think some of it was a little bit of both. I think it was some of the things that we wanted to do, some of it necessitated by the injuries that had happened, and I think some of it was necessitated by the opponent. They did some personnel things that we wanted to try and create some matchups that we thought could be beneficial for us. I thought Jack and the staff had it well mapped out, well prepared. And as I said, there's some things that we got to get fixed on all three phases, and that's our details.
And considering how the defense played today, do you expect to stick with the same rotations, or
Well,
will Emmanuel come back next week?
We'll see how things go. Each week is a different week. Each week's a different opponent. That's how we're going to approach it. It's going to be based on who we play and what the game plan is. I mean, again, Jack and the staff will get together tomorrow and Tuesday, and they'll work it out and map out how we're going to do things come Wednesday.
Oh, I'm sorry. What do you think of Sam's performance and Eric's play calling?
Well, I thought there's some real good things that Sam did early on, and I think it's one of those things that, again, he's got to continue to work on getting the ball out, get the ball out on time. He can't set himself up to take those kind of sacks sometimes, and those are probably the only real big negatives I could see. He did speed his clock up a little bit later in the fourth quarter, if you ask me. And again, I got to look at the tape before I can really give you definitive on that. But it did look like he sped up his clock a little bit and threw the ball sometimes before he needed to.
And you obviously emphasize the do your job
Yep.
part of your team. How do you think that resonated with the team, and if so, how did it play out?
I thought it resonated with them because you saw a lot of good things out there. You saw the guys doing the things that they're capable of. And as I said, the biggest thing we need to do is improve on our details.
So you considered challenging the London catch down there where him and Benjamin were wrestling?
I did, but the explanation, there's no way you're going to win it at that point. There's just no way. I mean, there's a couple of there was a moment when I thought it was pretty evident that he had it, but at the end of the day, the tie will go to the receiver.
Jamin's had some hiccups in coverage in the past. That last one against Bijan seemed to play exactly what he wanted. Can you just walk through that play, what you saw from him on that?
Well, the best thing was he was in his leverage position where he needed to be. He was in a good trail position. He was on the hip, and as he saw the ball start to be delivered, he was going down to make the play on the ball and just put himself in position to make the interception. I mean, those are the types of things that he is capable of because of his athleticism and his and again, just continue to understand where is my leverage, where is my help going to be, and if I play to that, I give myself opportunity to make plays.
Hey, Ron, 6 weeks in now for Sam as your starter. How are you starting to view him, like when you think about the big picture?
I think a guy is in growth and development, and again, as he grows and develops and continues to do positive things, it gives us every opportunity to be even better as a football team. When we make mistakes and we don't do the things we're capable of, we're not as good as we can be. I think his growth is going to be real important, real critical to us as we continue to go forward.
Ron, how important is taking care of the ball for him in that growth?
Very important, because again, if we're not turning the ball over, in negative situations, we can withstand a lot. I think today really showed what we're capable of as a defense. Again, we got a lot of work to still continue to do, but it was good to see the guys play the way that they did.
What do you think of Brian Robinson's touchdown run?
On the screen pass, I thought that was pretty dynamic. I mean, he's a big physical young man, and he gets in space and he gets on one-on-one or leaning forward. He's pretty tough to bring down.
You also got contributions from Tariq on the coverage, some blocks on Jamison. You have Chris Rodriguez coming in. What does that say about what you got from those guys?
Well, it shows you a little bit of depth, and again, as you roster build, that's one of the things that you try to find is that the next set of guys that are going to be able to contribute are backups, are guys that are in position that if something happens, they can step in and you won't lose anything. We felt pretty good about what happened today with Cornelius Lucas having to play in the situation, and thought Cornelius played a really solid football game for us.
How key was your five-man front to stopping their rushing attack? What made that so good today?
Well, again, it's when you look at the five-man front, the biggest thing more it is than anything else, it's really a 3-4 defense. That's all it really is for us, and that's the way Jack looks at it, the way it's sold to the guys. So, as we play it, we can do a lot of things out of it, and it is key because, when you bring in an extra bigger guy, it's a little bit more of a load to move.
Last one.
Coach, could you talk about the run by Jamin Crowder that set up
Oh.
the touchdown with Gibson?
That was a really good return. The biggest thing, more so than anything else, was he caught it, and there was enough of a holdup that when he caught it, he was able to drop his eyes down after he had the ball, see the crease, and just exploded through it. He started getting downhill, made a nice cutback, and if we could have just shielded one more guy off, he probably goes the distance on his own. As it is, it was a spark that we needed, and it was very exciting.
All right. Thanks, Coach. Appreciate
Cool.
it.
Thank
Actually, Jamison Crowder had a joke for us. He said, had he stretched a little bit more beforehand, he would have made it the distance. But at any rate, here's some of the things that I want to mention. And if you're just tuning in, you are watching from the Coaching from the Couch series, the weekly DMV Sports Update. And I am your host, Seawall. Bowie Television live recording happening. But every single day you can catch this show on Verizon Channel 11, Comcast Xfinity Channel 77 from 1:30 to 2:30. Oh, and on the weekends during the noon hour. Don't let me forget that, you all. Really quick during this live discussion session, if you're just checking in, hit the love button, like button. You still got time to share this show with your DMV Sports loving family and friends. Coach Rivera shared at the top of his presser right after a game, and that's why I wanted to share this with you all as they head already into week 7 and have to face the New York Football Giants on Sunday. They did their job, but they got to pay more attention to the details. That was a close call in several instances on Sunday. So I think we can all agree, right, that everyone's still delighted that the team came up on the right side of the correct side of the alphabet, and that's with the W. But we know that Daniel Jones may not play, right? I think considering putting him on short-term IR or whatever the case may be, but their backup quarterback for the Giants is Tyrod Taylor. Very good quarterback. High IQ type of quarterback. All right. See, here's the thing, you all. Gone are the days, in my opinion, where as soon as you hear QB1 is out and QB2 could be in, you think you got it made. No. With some teams, possibly, but that's very few teams in a league that is basically centered currently around high-powered offenses and running the scoreboard up. Okay. So don't think the Commanders are in the clear at all for the defense if Tyrod Taylor ends up leading this team, the New York Giants, on Sunday. That's not the case at all. I think this is a week that could shock the Commanders, so they need to be prepared. Some of the things that Coach Rivera talked about right after the game about the details, oh yes, totally agree. The details still need to very much so be paid attention to against the Giants, and let's just be for real. Currently, the Commanders have only faced the Eagles. They're 0-1 in division games. So they need to win a division game. I mean, and hey, we understand. Again, we're dealing with a Giants team that's 1-5 right now, but the teams they've played were very good. The Giants themselves were in the playoffs last year. We know that's not what they're looking like right now. And then some of the high hopes for the Giants haven't come to fruition at all, and it may not this season. But the reality is, this is one of those days where I said, if anyone ever used the term trap game, and if anyone believes in trap games, this could be it. This could be one. I think defensively, this team has to come out strong. This team has to not give, whether it's Daniel Jones or Tyrod Taylor led offense, any type of hope. You know that sometimes the offense is going to score. I mean, these are professionals. They're going to score. But I am still waiting for the complete and consistent game where the defense is who they are on paper. I'm still waiting for that day. I'm still waiting. We see flashes, we see plays, but when is it going to the whole game? I'm not necessarily saying mistake free, but what I am saying is be who you are on paper. And if ever you were going to start being who you are on paper, it needs to happen in week 7. This week. Because after this week, they see the Eagles again in front of us, another sold-out crowd at FedEx Field. This is one to pay attention to and to not be asleep on. I want to bring up again about Emmanuel Forbes. We'll just see what happens. He seems to be in good spirits. He's still connecting with his teammates. He's still right there, ready for if and when his number is called. But it goes back to what I was sharing a couple of weeks ago about the overall game planning, schematics, all of that. And that's going to be key to help everybody in the defense. I understand that these guys are super, super talented, but that doesn't mean that adjustments don't have to be made in order for them to play and be their best. And I think that's one of the things that's really going to have to happen for Emmanuel. It was okay the first couple of weeks, and you all know I was talking about him all summer long. But when you get into the game and you're putting him up against these very physical receivers, it gets tough. It gets tough, and you really have to go. And it is, in my opinion, some of it is about the physicality and what's just going to be the best matchup that wise, strength wise, in that way in some of these games for sure. Cornelius Lucas. I'm looking at my notes. Cornelius Lucas and the depth at running back as well. I saw many comments that come through. Give C Rod Jr. some more playing time. Let's see what Cornelius Lucas can do. Hey, listen, if we didn't see another thing that we saw with the Falcons game, with the Commanders taking on the Falcons, there is depth. I think Cornelius Lucas did an excellent job. I've been talking about Chris Rodriguez Jr. as well. At first during rookie camp, I wasn't so sure. And I said, you know what? I see it now. I see it now. And after having some conversations with running back coach Randy Jordan about Chris Rodriguez Jr. and how he learns and how he receives information and all of that, it helped me to understand Chris Rodriguez Jr. a lot more. And then having interviewed him as well, super duper player in person. So it was good to see him get out there. But again, to the point of depth, keep your eyes on Cornelius Lucas and Chris Rodriguez Jr. as well. We'll see if Sam Howell can speed his clock up. We'll see what happens. What a tough player. Wow. And it's like he doesn't even pay attention to those things. He's not even paying attention to it. It's clearly not a thing, you all. It's a thing, but it's not a thing for him where it's like weighing on him in the locker room or weighing on the team or anything like that. Everybody is understanding they can all do better. They can all be better. And here they go going into week 7 at 3-3 at 500, still trying to be better. And I think they're going to have to really don't sleep. I've seen the comments as well around the Commanders sometimes play down to the competition. Well, this is not a week to do that. They should be out there being who they are on paper and being who they are in practice, because I'm still waiting for a bad practice. Just do what you do in practice and pay attention to those details. So you all, we have made it another week. Now, haven't we? We have made it another week. Now, here's a couple of items. So yes, definitely will be in New York East Rutherford, New Jersey for the game. I am traveling to the game. So we'll have a live Washington Commanders update on Monday. Next Thursday, no weekly DMV Sports update. No DMV Sports update. I repeat, no DMV Sports update next Thursday. Okay? Monday, we're on for the live Washington Commanders update. No DMV Sports update next Thursday. I'm off. Okay. So, you all, thank you so much for watching. And you can always catch this again. You can still tag in your DMV Sports, weekly DMV Sports loving family and friends. Covered a lot on Wizards preseason. Covered a lot on Washington Commanders versus the New York Giants coming up in week 7. So it's never too late to catch the show. It's always up here. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you guys again soon.